Volatility strikes again. Welcome back to the channel. Today's January 19th, and Bitcoin still remains above 20,000 despite the short-term dip that we had. Yesterday, we took a little bit of a dive, and this caused a lot of discussion about whether Bitcoin is still going to go up or whether this is a big fake out and we're ready to crash once again. We're still up like 25% since the start of the new year. So to me, we're doing just fine as long as we're above 20,000 and as long as we're above the 200-day SMA. So whenever the price gets above the 200-day SMA, there's another possibility that is just around the corner, and that is the golden cross, the 50-day crossing above the 200-day, giving us the final signal that things could be changing for good here. Now, of course, I know a lot of people are going to run into the comment section and say, but Kev, that's a lagging indicator, and this is just a big fake out. Well, okay, sure, it is a lagging indicator, and maybe that cross doesn't actually lead to upside. So in most cycles, the bear market is encapsulated by the death cross. We have the death cross, and then most of the downside takes place after the death cross. And then every bull market begun with a break above the 200-day and a 50-day crossing above the 200. And in some of our cycles, there's multiple golden crosses that take place before the bull run begins. It is possible that in this cycle, the same thing occurs. We get a golden cross, we kind of top out in the short term, go more sideways, and then get a second golden cross later, which would be the final golden cross to lead us into the 2024 halving. And so those are the possibilities that we need to consider. Now, there's another thing I want to talk about, and that is that Bitcoin is in this large scale falling wedge that we've been discussing on this channel. A lot of people have been talking about this now. And something that might actually shock you is the price target of this falling wedge breakout. If we get a falling wedge and we get above the macro down trend line and we break into a higher high, the target of the falling wedge comes in much higher than most of you would expect. So for those of you that may not know, the way to get the target for a falling wedge is by measuring the widest end of the wedge and then taking that measurement and placing it on the breakout level. And that gives you your target. So let's do this for Bitcoin. We go over here to the $30,000 low and then measure this line up to the $69,000 top, which is the top of the wedge, and then drag this line over to the breakout zone, which would be above 21,500, a higher high. That is the breakout level. And that target lands us at $50,000. Listen, I don't make the rules. That's TA. And this is the largest falling wedge in Bitcoin history. That kind of makes sense. The largest falling wedge ever has a much higher than expected target. I don't think anyone would be expecting Bitcoin to break out and just run to 50, right? So I'm not saying it's going to. There's a lot of factors we need to look out for, including, what the stock market's doing that could stop this potential target from being hit, etc. And I know a lot of people are going to be watching this like, oh my God, Kevin, this is such a moon boy target. Well, again, I don't make the rules. This is what TA says you're supposed to do. So I'm just showing you guys what the textbook says. It's not my opinion, it's just a textbook measurement of a falling wedge breakout target. So take it for however you want to take it. I mean, this is what it is. And the way that you measure the target is by drawing a straight line, though I don't think it's going to be a straight line up. Don't get me wrong, hitting that target would take a long time. So that's interesting, right? Pretty cool. That would be an epic target to hit, but we'll see what happens. We got to get above 21,500 first of all. But I do want to mention, going back to the 200-day, Bitcoin is now above the 200-day SMA for the first time since the end of 2021, right? So, a lot of people are still skeptical, still bearish. They just think that the downtrend will last forever or that 10K must be hit. It has to happen. Guys, nothing has to happen, right? Nothing has to happen. The market doesn't have to do anything. Your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. The market's going to do what it wants. And it's not really just about Bitcoin. It's not really about Bitcoin at this point. It's actually about the stock market. You look at the S&P 500 and it's also in this downtrend. And the reason why Bitcoin dumped yesterday was not because of some news story or anything. It was because the S&P dumped off the resistance. They're correlated. And now the S&P is still sitting in this position where we're still close to the downtrend line. And the other thing that's taking place is that we have a potential golden cross for the S&P 500 looming. We are very close to a potential golden cross. And it's interesting to see how Bitcoin is also somewhat close to a golden cross. The stock market is very close to a golden cross, and these two do have a correlation. So this is really the biggest factor. Is the S&P going to just dump right off this level? If it does, Bitcoin won't get the golden cross. And also just to mention, as long as we're above the 200-day SMA, I'm feeling pretty good, pretty comfortable. If we fail to hold the 200-day, that's when I start to think, okay, maybe this run was sort of like a fake out, or there's, that would just show me weakness. So that's the thing that I'm really looking at, is just holding above the 200-day, because above the 200-day, and especially if we get a golden cross, but above the 200-day, investor sentiment increases. People get more bullish. Trading algorithms flip from bearish to bullish strategies, whether the price is below or above the 200-day. So the automated trades will actually execute bullish strategies when we're above the 200-day. Generally speaking, that's how a lot of people have their bots set up. So that is interesting to also consider. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much what I wanted to discuss today. That falling wedge breakout target might sound totally ridiculous, but this is just what the textbook says you got to do to measure the target. But we'll see what happens, guys. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like, subscribe to this channel if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.